Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. Welcome to my virtual studio here in Vermillion. Today, as you can see beside me, we are painting Lake Louise, one of the most iconic lakes in all of Canada. If you haven't been to my channel before, make sure you check out my other tutorials as well here for Vermillion. I'll link the playlist below, or you can just head back to my channel page and you'll see them on there. For this one, I've used kind of a mixture of reference images, so I will link those below so you can check those out. I'm going to put them all onto my website page, so I'll link that below so you can find them all on my website page. And then I'll also put the final painting image on there as well. So if you want to just use that final painting image as kind of a reference, then you can use that there. So that'll be linked below in the description for you to use. Then you can use the projector if you'd like a little bit as well. While you're painting this, if you have any questions, please comment below or send me a message. I'm more than happy to help. And leave a comment to let me know that you followed along. And if you want to share your final results onto the Discord or onto social media, I'd love to see them as well. So let's jump into this one. Alright, so here we are. If you haven't already, you can hit start a new painting. We're going to start this one at 24×18, but after you do that, you can change the size of it. I'm going to increase it just a little bit more so it's easier for you to see. Alright, so this one's kind of a mixture of a few different images, like I said. One that we're going to be using is this one here. So I'm going to grab this here. Actually, first, I'm going to make sure we're on layer 1 there. Sensitivity right now doesn't matter too much. I'm going to decrease the size of that the painting there. And we're going to line it up here. I'm going to grab that rigger brush, take some white, take some black, just make a gray, and here I just want to outline a few different spots. You don't have to do all these rocks here. I'm just going to do a few just so I have a bit of an idea once we get into those rocks what we're kind of dealing with. Then we'll do the shoreline here all the way across. Do this main tree line coming down. Now, if you haven't been to Lake Louise before, then you might not know kind of what the rest of it looks like. We're going to draw that up. It's going to come across right here. Right here, this is coming up and out, kind of like that. And we're going to have a few different spots in here that we're going to take a look at. And if you want to draw in where those reflections are, you can do that as well. If you want, you can look at other images. Of Lake Louise to kind of get an idea for what the other side is going to look like, but you can see here this is all on Pixabay, so you don't have to worry about copyright or anything. Let's get one that's a little further back. Let's go back up to the top here. If that doesn't make you dizzy, I don't know what would. There you go, even one like that, you can really see that this kind of comes down here. We're going to have various spots in throughout here. Same with on this side, and even right here. I'm going to do a little bit of snow in there maybe. And then it's going to come up here as well. And then there's kind of this bald spot right in here. Alright, so there's our outline here. So I'm going to go to layer 2. We're just going to start with the sky. And some, oh, we don't want this attached here. You can leave your mixability where it's at. For the sky, we're just going to take this blue here and kind of spread that in a bit. And since we've already done our little sketch there, we know where that sky is going to go to. It's going to go to about right there. Let's see here. Instead of covering up too much, I'm just going to go a little bit less here so we can still see our sketching underneath. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit of white, mix it in with some of that blue. Start at the bottom here, work my way back up into that blue. Just did a few little streaks there. And then we're just going to blend that out, and you're going to see it's going to turn it into almost just very soft clouds. We want a bit more blue right in there. If you want to add a bit more wispiness in there, just brush that in a bit. And then just blend that out. Alright, so a nice soft sky. That's all we need to do for that. I'm just going to clean off that brush. Now for the mountains, we're going to take this black, this darker blue, and a little bit of brown here. And all we're going to do is we're just going to kind of map in here. Actually, we'll start with the back one. Alright, this is coming up to here. And if you want to, for this part, you can turn down that sensitivity a little bit. I'm going to increase this size a bit so I can have a little bit more control. Remember, the flatter you put this palette knife, the more thick and solid that paint's going to go on, right? Could use a brush for this. I just like using the palette knife. Alright, now for the closer mountains. I'm going to take a little bit of that kind of maroon red brown color here. It's giving us almost a purple. Add a bit more black to it. And that's going to be this part here. Add a bit of brown to that as well. I'm leaving those lines just a little bit open so I can still see kind of where that transition is between the spots that we want. So this part of the mountain's closer than what we're looking at the back. That's why I'm not doing quite so much of a blue undertone to it, because it is closer. So we're doing more of a brown undertone that this mountain has here. Keep on filling this in. I guess you could just use the projector from the get-go, but since I drew some of these lines in myself, then obviously, you know, some of it's different. Change this grip a little bit here. Sorry, I keep on hitting the mic right there. And this part of the mountain's closer too, that's why we're using that same kind of brown color. If you want to still mark where those lines are, you can go in with different color here. Mark where those are so we don't forget. Sorry, keep on hitting that mic. There's going to be some trees up in this part here, but I'm still just going to go over it quick here with this brown. So then if you want to, you can take some green, take that dark brown mixture, take some black to it, a little bit more green. And we're just going to do this. That's almost black really, but that's fine. Alright, so that's the gist of the mountains. Now we're going to go in and we're going to add some detail here. So with that with that dark blue that we used for the back, I'm just going to lighten it up a little bit. And I'm just going to go in here kind of in the direction that the mountain is. If you want to go back to your photos to take a look, feel free to do that. We don't need that projector on. And now if you want to, you can start closing up some of these white lines a bit more too. And by putting the palette knife on its side like that, then that's giving us some texture that we want. So I'm just adding some texture to these mountain sides here. Now with this gray, I'm going to take some down there, add a bit lighter again. With that, we're going to go in here. Add a little bit of this to this back part as well. And this lighter one, I didn't add too much of this lighter one in here. Or the medium one, I should say, sorry. Now we'll take some of that lighter stuff, put it in here a little bit. Now I'm just going to take some white. We're going to add some snow up in here because oftentimes at Lake Louise there's a good amount of snow, especially as you can see in the reference image there. That snow is going to collect right down at the bottom here. Add a little bit on this part as well, but not as much. And it often collects there at the bottom, as you can see in the image. Okay, I think we got this back part down pretty good. And that part right here. We'll move into this section up here. So I'm just taking some of that base coat that we did for that, kind of that browny purpley. Mixing just a little bit of a lighter tone to it. Spreading that in there. I'm going to take some of this lighter gray that we used on the back mountains and do that same thing. Add a little bit of brown to it here as well. A little bit of white. right up on top there. And take a little bit of white. Not going to do as much snow on this part, but just a little bit there. Okay, now in front of that, we have some patches of rock and we have some trees. Over here we have more just rock, so I'm going to take this blue, this dark blue that we had, put some of that in here. This is going to be our shadowy side. That's coming all the way over to about there. There's going to be a little bit of shadow kind of in here as well, and down that side as well here. And the majority of the rest of it is going to be in the sun. That's too much and too bright. I'm going to take some brown, mix some of this darker blue with it, add some white. Whoa, that's way too much. Try that out for size here. It's pretty good. And as you can see in the picture there, or if you're looking at a picture, there's a lot of kind of vertical spots here, so we're going to add a lot of these little vertical strokes in. Then there's going to be kind of a line coming down right here a bit, and then this line coming down right here. Okay, I'm going to lighten that up just a little bit. And then with that, we'll do that same thing. I'm going to try just going like this. Oh, that's not bad. Oh, maybe that's a little too much. Okay, and I'm going to take some more white to it. And a little bit of this blue. And with that we're going to, oh, that's too much. We're going to take that down right here. It's going to come down into there. We're going to add a bit more dark and a bit more of this lighter kind of grayish. I'm going to take the bristle fan brush here, go in and just kind of dab in some of these vertical lines that we're seeing on the mountainside. The bristle fan brush gives some nice texture, so it's a good one to use when you're working with mountains, rocks, trees, all that kind of stuff. Try some of this blue over here. Add some of this throughout as well. Okay, I'm going to come back to that mountain in a little bit here. I'm going to move on to this side of the mountain here. I'm going to stick with this fan brush for a little bit here and see how it does for me. Take a little bit of yellow ochre. Mix that in with the brown we've got going on here. Don't want it quite so thick. We're going to add some of that in here, and that's going to reflect off that sun nicely and give us a nice orange rocky color. We'll take some of this blue mixture that we got here and just add some of that in throughout, even the sunny side, because that's going to show that there still is shadows in throughout that side as well. You don't want to make it too random. You want to kind of add some spots where it looks like, you know, that's where the rocks are really flowing down. Okay, I'm just gonna take a step back and see where we're at here. I like it. I feel like this just needs to be a bit more rounded. And this needs to just kind of come down a little bit more here. Okay, now I'm going to take some of this green mixed with that little bit of brown and just kind of dab a little bit of that here going up into these spots here. Take that darker green too, same idea. Okay, I'm going to take some of this dark green down here. We're going to add a little bit of blue to it. Get a little bit more green. And that's going to go right down along on the bottom here. We want to add some blue to it to make it look a little bit further away, but then also that makes it be more on the shaded side of this whole thing. And we'll just throw a little bit up in here as well, why not? Okay. With that darker blue-green, we want to go in here and do the majority of this background with that. But then kind of from here down will be closer trees. So these ones are still going to be in the sun. They're just further away. Then take some lighter bits. Just dab it in there a little bit. We're just going to try a little bit of white. Some more green. Just need a little bit of blue into that. There we go. Just dabbing that in here throughout this piece. You don't want to cover everything underneath. And we are going to be adding some rock in here anyways. I'm going to be covering up a decent amount of this. So for that rock, we're going to take our palette knife, going to take some of that brown that we mixed before, some of the dark brown to start actually. And we're just going to just kind of add some in right there, some down there, some up in here, some right in there, big piece right in there, and then kind of the top of this piece right up in here. Take a lighter shade, put it a little bit more on its side so it just kind of scatters it in there. So it gives you some nice texture. Take some of the more orange color, add just a little bit of that in there as well. And take that bristle brush again, with that darker green, just around the edges of these rocks, just to kind of soften those up a little bit so they're not too harsh. Okay, now with this front part, I'm just going to clean this off. I don't think I need much of these colors anymore, and I can mix them easy if I need to. We're going to take some of that pure green mixed in with a bit of black. Okay, quite a bit of black. And just like we did before with the back part here, we're just going to go in here and just dab this in. And this part actually I think we're going to do mainly all trees. And I know I kind of varied a little bit from what I drew originally, but that's what painting is, right? That's you can plan something, but then things can always change. So we're really just filling this in here. Okay, now I'm just going to take a bit lighter of a shade, and the trees are pretty close, so for the top, the furthest away, I'm going to have it kind of horizontal here, as you can see. But then as you get to the bottom, I'm going to turn it more vertical. Change that grip so I can hold that a little bit easier. Then right here, these are going to be the tallest. Because they're going to be the closest to us here. And then if you want to, you can take a little bit of yellow with that and just in a few places, I'm not going to do the whole thing. Just to kind of act as if the sun is sparkling off a few of these. Okay, we're going to do that same idea now, but over on this side, and they're all pretty close to us. So I'm going to take this darker green that we were just working with over there, start dabbing this in here, and actually, I'm going to do some of the kind of more blue tinges on this side first. Once we get to here, then it's going to be more trees that are in the sun. Change that grip a little bit. Okay, take that lighter. And these are still a little bit further away because they're still up on the mountain a little bit, so I'm going to keep this brush horizontal. These trees right up close here are going to be all vertical. And then take the lightest, just dab it out a little bit here. You can really act as if the sun's coming in on a few certain spots, right? Okay, take that darker, increase my brush size a little bit here in behind the boathouse. It's just all these trees. I'm actually going to take a little bit of this brown first, mix it with a little bit of black, just in a few spots. Doesn't have to be thick. Just to show that there are tree trunks in here. But with how thick that forest is, you don't really see them much. Oh. And these trees, for the majority, are actually going to be a bit more in the shade, right? The sun's not going to be quite on them, as they're not facing this direction, they're facing from this direction. But they're closer, so they're not going to be quite like that up in there. Shrink that down to its smallest size for this spot. Okay, I'm going to take just that next green here. I'm going to add a little bit of that throughout. Then with that medium green, I'm going to bring it up here, add just a little bit of this blue to it. And a tiny bit of this, or a tiny bit of white, just to lighten that up a little bit. Then I'm going to take some of this lighter green . No, I won't worry about that, I don't think. I was going to say you can put a little bit of that lighter green around the tops here if you would like. As if the sun is getting them a little bit, right? We just need a little bit of a lighter highlight here. That should do it. That'll be too much. Let's try that. Yeah, that's okay. I just mixed some white there with that light blue-green mixture that we had, and a little bit of the regular green. Okay, you want to take a step back? I like it. I like it. Okay, we're going to move into the boathouse now. So I'm just going to grab the smooth short flat, and if you want to scroll back down to where that boathouse was, just so we can get a better look at it here. It goes a ways down. There we go. So we've got some brown here. I'm going to press B to hold that straight for me. I'm going to, with this brush, just kind of fill in beside. Where I want that building to end. A little bit of dark brown coming up into there. And the roof is still kind of brown. We're just going to add a bit of white to it. And just actually a hint of this kind of maroon red here. Probably a burnt sienna or something. Yeah, I like that. Just going to increase that brush size. I'm going to take a little bit of white and gray on that. Actually turn that to the bristle fan brush. And just kind of go down the roof here. And then do the same thing going sideways as well. Okay, then on it, I'm going to take the rigger brush, some black, some of this gray, and we got some windows here that are kind of a yellow ochre. Color there. Looks like we got 3 of them actually. And I'm going to just take a different color of brown, a lighter one here. Just kind of add in just a little bit of textures on there. Even if it's not exactly what it actually is, that's totally fine. Okay, I'm going to do, actually hold on with this brush, I'm just going to take this in here. We are going to add a little dock as well in just a minute. But first we're going to add in the reflection of the lake before we do anything else. So for the reflection, this lake is very, very, very turquoise, if you haven't seen it before in person. And so I'm going to do just a slight reflection, not quite like we see here. I guess we can do kind of similar. So we're going to take some of this turquoisey color, put it over there. Going to take some of this blue, mix it in with that, and just to start, we're just going to lay this in here. Okay, reload that. And if it's not perfect, it's totally fine because it is just the lake, right? We're not going to be doing fine details on it anyways. Sorry about that. Oh, that was a little high. Oh, so is that. Okay, let's press B. No, it's not working for me. Okay. I'm just going to go in and smooth this out a little bit. Get some on the end here. Oh, that's way too high again. Okay, good enough for now. Smooth this out again. Okay. So I'm going to take the bristle fan, take some of that dark green, just brush it in here, kind of all in this area here. A little too thick. Okay, this lighter green, do a bit of that as well. And then this green that we had is this lightest. Okay, we're gonna just try that on this side for a minute here. I'm just gonna go in and it's gonna cover up this gray line here. I'm gonna start with some vertical blending first. Then I'm gonna go in and go a bit sideways here. Again, I'm gonna take this palette knife. I just don't want to have to deal with those lines right now. If you want to, you can shrink that down to its thinnest. Okay, and what I think we're missing here is I need this darkest green here right up against the shoreline there. If you've watched my tutorials before, I always have the tendency to start a sentence, pause for a few seconds, and then finish it. Sorry about that. Okay, I like that. We're going to be adding the dock in here anyway, so I'm not too worried about that spot. I'm going to take, oh, not with that. I want the fan brush again. I'm going to take some of this brown. Just dab a little bit of brown in there. Some darker brown. Add just a little bit of white-ish stuff in here. That was not white, that turned brown. A little bit of blue in there as well. And now we're going to do that same thing that we just did over here, but on this side, which means first I need some brown here. And then we start into this. Okay, take that blender brush, start with some vertical. Then I'm going to shrink that down, do some horizontal. Okay, take a step back and take a look. I like it. Okay, now we're going to move into the sky. The sky is going to be, take some of this blue here, take some of that green. I like that. A little high. Need to take my tool off more so when I hit undo it doesn't take me so far back. Okay, I'm going to take that color here, add a little bit of white to it, and just add that in a little bit. It's a little thick. Just add that in throughout a little bit here. Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm going to take this blender brush here. I'm going to just make it as thick as it goes here. Do some verticals first. Really mess those colors around. I'm going to do some horizontals here. Okay, I think it needs a little bit more of the lighter actually, especially right up in here. Maybe a bit down in here as well. Some of the darker right along that line. Okay, and really gonna go with some horizontals here. Okay, I'm gonna blend the trees in just a little bit more too, but I just want to take a step back and see how I like that color first. I feel like we need a bit of this blue. Mixed right into it as well here. Okay, I'm going to take a step back again. Nice, I like that. Now I'm just going to pull these trees down or push the sky up into the trees to really have a nice smooth transition between the two here. Okay, take a step back again. I like it. All right, now we're gonna move into, actually I think we'll do the boat dock first here. I'm gonna take the smooth short flat. Oops. I do want that here. I'm just gonna click on this picture because I do want that picture now. I'm gonna take just some brown. Just go along here. Now I'm going to take just some pure red and form the shape of a canoe in one spot. And do it again over here. We'll add a third one. I'm going to take a little bit of white to mix with that red. Add a little bit of highlight. Take some lighter brown to dab in around it. And then underneath of it, take, just want to mute it a little bit. If you do want to add a little bit of a shoreline, we didn't really do that, but I'm just going to take the bristle, short, and just kind of dab in here. Okay. Now we're going to work our way into our rocks up front. I'm going to reset this. For our rocks, I'm going to try a couple of things. I'm going to try this one first, our smooth 1-inch oval. I'm going to take some black, mix it with some brown, a nice dark one. I'm just going to go in and paint. That's not doing what I want. Take the smooth short dagger, why not? Okay, just have those outlined there where we want them. And I'm actually going to go back to our trusty bristle fan brush here. And that's going to help us create the texture on the rocks that we want. So first I'm going to take some brown. Dab it in on a few of these rocks. Not all of them, because some of them are going to be kind of different color schemes here. I'm going to take this black brown that we had, add some white to it. A bit more black, just a nice dark gray. And the other ones we're just going to start with a nice dark gray instead. Some can have a mixture of both, that's for sure. And now in between each of these, I'm going to go in with that smooth dagger again. And just start filling it in. Actually, before that, I'm going to go this brown. Make it a bit lighter. Okay, now I'm going to go with that dagger brush. And the dark black. Now that we've kind of got an outline for most of those larger rocks. Okay. Take this bristle fan brush again. Now, I really want to go in here and make it clear where these rocks are. So this one's going to come right here. Now in between, it can still have different colors in there, right? Not this one actually. Here you can make up your own rocks if you really want to. You don't have to follow. What's on there, right? You can do your own if you'd like. Do what works for you. Okay, now we're going to try to kind of bring the lake into the rocks a bit more. So I'm going to grab my palette here. I'm just going to reset it. We're going to take this turquoisey color. We had some blue mixed with it. We had a little bit of white mixed with it. We're going to keep that there. Now I'm going to take that, kind of mix a little bit of black with it. Do it a bit more. This is going to kind of go around the rock area here. And I'm going to take some brown, mix that a bit with this, and just kind of out into the water here, just do a few, as if there's some rocks kind of out into the water a little bit here. Now I'm going to take some of this, add some white to it. A little bit of orange, mix that in there as well. Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm going to take our blender brush here and very carefully, because I don't really want to blend out the rocks we've done along the shore. We just want to blend what we're doing in the lake part here, right? I'm just adding a little bit of horizontal. You can see what I'm doing there. And I'm going to push this out just a bit here as well. Can always bring it back in if we need later. Okay, and I'm going to take a step back now and take a look at that. I like it. There's just a few spots I want to touch up here. Just with a really light. Actually, I'm just going to use white. Just filling in a few of those really dark spots. I don't feel like we need that dark of spots throughout. Just with these rocks that are kind of more towards the water. That's fine. No, that's good. I don't want to mess around with that too much. Just giving a little definition back to where I accidentally might have blended things a little bit. And I feel like I need a little bit of this dark right in there, right in there. Okay, we're going to blend that out again. And on these rocks, just going to add a little bit of, oh, that's too much. Just a little bit of this light green in spots that we had from this green color up here. Just to kind of be like a little bit of moss on some of those. You can even add a little bit of white to that. Okay, take a step back. I think that's pretty much got it. If there's anything that you see that you want to touch up, now's the time that you can do that. I feel like this cliff kind of comes out a little bit much here. So I'm just going to add that in there. Just adding in some really lights where that sun is hitting, right? Okay. Add a little bit on here as well. All right, I think we pretty much got it there. If you want to sign it, take that rigger brush. I'm just going to sign it down here. I'm terrible at signing things. Let's retry that. Alright, I always like to put the year after and my name. Okay, if there's anything you want to adjust, now you can go in and do that. Otherwise, thanks for joining me. I'm gonna do a close-up now of the whole thing so you can see everything up close, and then we will go to the outro. So thank you for painting this one with me today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed painting this one. This is one of my favorites so far. I hope you learned something new you can take on to your next painting. If you want to share your finished product, I'd love to see it. Share it onto the Discord group and tag me, Brian Sloan Artist, or onto the Facebook group or any other social media platforms that I'm on, or you can just email it to me at brian@briansloanartist.com as well. Make sure you check out my other tutorials, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss future videos, and we'll see you next time on Brian Sloan Artist.